How to start a food forest is on a lot of people's minds. Is experimentation the best way for you to learn? Gathering knowledge is a big deal. You're dealing with living matter. Always remember, living matter has its own energy. It will do what it wants to do. Every time you might try something new, it gets overwhelming. You have to get dirty in this case. Organic food forests are hands-on memories and experiences. But lucky somebody has walked this pathway before. Plants are more reliable than humans. Just remember that while you're watering them. Harvesting results are always a big reward and taste good. Know what you're looking for. Growing old with your garden should be your focus. Just remember your food forest is always in motion, making it a living challenge. Layering your vegetation, protecting your soil from being scorched is a big factor in food forests. Covering your soil completely is another important fact of food forest gardening. Creating a produce wish list is very important. You want to eat what you grow. Very important to have a good list. Gardening using organic shapes is the focus of food forests. Duplicating nature is the objective. It's a great way to garden and a new way to garden. Chop and drop. Everything stays on site. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is taken out of the system. Chopping everything up so that it becomes compostable a lot quicker is important. You have to simplify your thinking in a food forest. Keep it very simple. Minimal human interference, using nature's
So these
built-in abilities
vegetables
as your ally.
are covering the earth completely. They're quite tight together, but the spacing is correct. What I mean by that is the broccoli can still form its head correctly. These carrots can get nice and large, but there's nothing showing. And when you seed this at the start, you could put fruit trees in here, and the fruit trees will come up through this growth and provide shade. There's many examples of that in the garden where we actually have the fruit trees coming out of the vegetable patch. And that's sort of the element of food forest, is you have these taller plants coming out through the garden. For example, we have this avocado flourishing here. We have behind us a fruit of the arbol. So this combination of having your your fruit trees and your vegetables tightly knit, but yet working together, is the fundamentals of every food forest. You're basically growing everything together. Then you have nitrogen fixers, you have other plants coming through. So you're making it very jungle-like, very organic. And what happens at that moment is nature does all the heavy lifting for you. And by heavy lifting, I mean nature understands what to do to cover the earth, to grow the best possible fruit, to look after itself against disease. If you have this random appearance of growth, it's a lot easier to control your garden because A, it's a lot less work, B, it needs a lot less watering, and you're protecting your soil, which is really crucial in this type of a setup. Everything stays on site. We don't lose anything. We don't take anything away. It just gets composted, chopped up, chop and drop, and everything is circular here, which is really important in a food forest, to grow circular and to understand the concept of biodiversity and having as many things growing in close proximity as you possibly can. And what that does is it attracts these insects all over the place. There's reptiles everywhere. It's a great way of gardening. Very, very hard for certain gardeners to give up this structured component of the gardening, like rows and columns, and everything is organized. Nothing grows into each other. Everything is kept apart from each other. It's a learning curve. If you want to do a food forest, you have to think very organic, very circular, everything is in motion, and you have to keep the garden in motion. You have to keep your food forest constantly in motion. Pruning, cutting, chopping, dropping, adding new compost, making sure that you have the spacing of your plants correct, making sure you have enough larger layered, the canopy trees in the right locations. You have to have enough of them. You have to have the right species. What kind of sunlight comes through them? All those questions are related to how successful your food forest will be.